Hi, I'm George, TSG's ActiveWizard product manager. In this short demo, I'm going to overview the active workflow module of ActiveWizard. Now here we are in the HPI stage viewing the ActiveWizard form. If you haven't already, check out the active form demo to see how we actually created this form from scratch. But for this demo, we're going to take a look at how we drive workflow approvers from business rules embedded in the form. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the form and we'll resume editing. And a couple of questions here drive workflow. The first is this priority of change, which for now, let's just note that I've selected medium as a priority of change. And this one, which is our simpler way to select approvers, which is simply display a question on the form that asks the user to choose other users to select as approvers. So that's what I've done simply here to say I want to select Alice. I'll go ahead and add Conan as well to this list. So now I'm going to go to my summary page and click next here. When I click next, what's going to happen is it's going to evaluate the business rules that we've configured against the form data and evaluate it against what I put into the form to actually display who the approvers are going to be. So first I'll concentrate on this CR approval task here. This is the simpler case. I simply selected Alice and Conan as approvers, so they display as approvers or assignees to the CR approval task. This one's a little bit different though, simply because I've selected priority change medium, it's assigned this QDadmin3 user as the approver. We can also see that the role itself was selected because my priority of change was not low. To see how this works, let me just go back here and I'm just going to change this priority of change from medium to high. And we'll see how that affects the approvers. So what happens here is now that I've selected priority change high, instead of QDadmin3, I get QDadmin1 and QDadmin2. So let's just change this again. And for now, I'm going to change this to low. And I'm also going to say, yes, regulatory affairs will need to select or is required for approval for this change request. So a few extra things are going to happen here. First of all, my initial QA task disappears because I selected low. And since I selected yes to that will regulatory affairs approval be required question, I now get this regulatory role. And I've driven that I go to my user, George, since the priority of change is not high. So that's just a couple of ways of how we can drive who the approvers are going to be based off of the uh, data in the form. Another thing you're noticing here is these priorities. And basically what this means is that anything in priority 1 must happen before priority 2. So essentially, if I were to start the workflow, George is going to get the workflow task and need to approve before Alice and Conan uh, need to execute their approval. So obviously this is just an example. We could, configure it so that the CR approval task happens at the same time as regulatory. You could throw initial QA as a first task or a last task. All of that is configurable in our admin tool, and no code updates are required. I'm also showing users here, but we can route to groups as well, where everyone in the group would get a task and one user in the group would acquire the task and approve on behalf of the group. So to set up for our next demos where we're going to actually route this form for review and approval, I'm just going to come back here and change my question here for regulatory to no, jump back to the summary page and evaluate the rules. So now I'm just going to have one task and it's going to go to Conan and Alice and I'll go ahead and finish. This is going to create a new version of the form in the ECM system. We also have an action here to view the status. Now the route hasn't actually started, but I can easily see here who the approvers are, which is definitely helpful if it's a large form and you don't want to have to actually, look through this form to know who the approvers are. Well, that's it for this short demo. In the next demos, we're going to go through routing this form for review and approval, so be sure to check those out. But for more information, check out our website at tsgrp.com.